As said, my name is Wolfgang Stelzle, CEO and founder of Reflect. You will hear a bit more of what we do within the presentation, although I'm trying not to do that as a marketing and communications presentation, but to really add some value here from our experience as a company over the past 5 years. Maybe just one thing, what was mentioned, if there's any startup and startup founders in that room, I am a chairman of a federal work group in the Economic Council of Germany. So we do improve the startup ecosystem in Germany together with the German government. So come to me if you're interested in joining that work group. There's a lot of interesting stuff to discuss so that we are actually improving the ecosystem in Germany and don't let all the interesting augmented reality, mixed reality, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things technologies being doing by our US-American competitors, for instance. So coming to the topic, what Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple won't tell you about enterprise AR, really it is a couple of things which I want to highlight based on our experiences, especially around enterprises. So I'm not going to talk about business-to-consumer technologies in that talk. To summarize, and you've heard most of that during the day, I'm pretty sure, we have AR Kit out with over 13 million downloads. That figure is a couple of months old. We have the competitor AR Core from Google. We have the Microsoft HoloLens. There's rumors 50,000 sales. That adds up by the price of 5,000 euro per HoloLens to 250 million. We have Amazon Sumerian, which is now open to all. It is a platform where you can create your own augmented and virtual reality applications. So there's a lot going on by the big four, by the big five companies, and you can be sure that this is not going to stop. But what do they really all want? What is this all about, and why are these companies investing so much money into that? Of course, because the technologies are going to take off. I mean, no one who's attending that conference is probably doubting that anymore. But for them, it's really all about fully committing to their ecosystem and never get out again. So they're trying to sell you the software SDKs, the hardware, and they're trying to bound you in a way that you actually have very hard times if you want to switch to another platform, to another ecosystem. So what do they not tell you in that regards? That's a couple of things which I want to clarify on the next few slides. First thing, certainly the choice for a device depends on the use case. And that shouldn't be new for you. You hear that a lot here on the Agility. I'm pretty sure you see a lot of use cases out there at the exhibition as well. I really want to give a quick overview. It's not my categories. I have used the categories from ABI Research. You can have several more categories, but I tried to make it simple. Mobile AR, entry-level head-worn AR, and high-end head-worn AR, mixed reality. And some of the stuff which is on the right side from Microsoft, Meta, Dockery, Magic Leap, it's really advanced, but really not all of the use cases are working yet in enterprise environments. If it comes to the service area, for example, to service workshops, that's where we focus a lot on. A lot of the environments, a lot of the infrastructure is just not ready yet. Yeah? So we need to ask ourselves, okay, what are the use cases which you can do today? And there, especially mobile AR with phones and tablets, there is use cases which work. For instance, in training environments and education. So you don't need to have your hands free for 8 hours. You could use a tablet for consuming interactive step-by-step instructions on a machine, for example, in a training environment. You do that for 1 hour. You have an increased efficiency and increased knowledge retention, but then you put the device away again and you jump back into a theory session. So those devices can really work today. And also talking about remote assistance, remote expert use cases, not all of the enterprises out there, they have glasses yet, may it be monoscopic or stereoscopic glasses. They have rolled out Android, iOS, Windows, phones or tablets over the last couple of years, and they want to reuse these tablets, of course, for remote assistance and remote AR as well. So why not publishing and deploying on those devices? Then you have the monoscopic devices, the entry-level head-worn AR, and some of the use cases, logistics, factory floor, remote AR, use cases which perfectly work on those devices already. And then you have the HoloLenses of the world, which I believe, honestly speaking, in that category is the most advanced device at the moment. But really, it cannot be used for an 8-hour work session in a workshop yet. Everyone knows that, so we have to see where can it be used, and training really is the use case which we currently see most often for the same reasons as mobile phones and tablets, because you can use the device, experience for an hour, and then put it away again, recharge it, jump back into a theory discussion. Next, with AR Core and AR Kit, you have the surface recognition. Like you can track the floor, you can track the walls, you can put furniture, virtual furniture on top of the floor. But in most enterprise use cases, what you really want to do is you want to derive the tracking, so-called tracking configuration from CAD. You see that in the image and in the videos on the top right. You don't always have the physical object present when you create the virtual scenario, meaning you as a technical writer, for instance, you want to create a step-by-step instruction, so remove that screw, take off that cap, and then you want to bind that to a real object, but sometimes you just don't have the real object right in front of you, right in front of your PC. It could be a machine thousands of kilometers away. So what you want to do is you want to use your CAD information to create that tracking configuration. And that's pretty complex technology, and technologies like AR Core and AR Kit don't do that right now. The question is, will they ever do that? Because it's not a consumer use case. Yeah, it's a classical enterprise use case, a classical enterprise problem. And how this is looking like in the real world, I want to show from a video with in Bosch environments, in Bosch training environments, why this is so important to recognize real-world objects.
Service systems and data has to be transferred to relevant places. The solution is literally right in front of your eyes. Augmented Reality by Bosch. All relevant repair information at a glance. Bosch's augmented reality is an intelligent and intuitive technology which presents all relevant information directly in your field of view. So identifying fault sources and repairs can be performed more quickly and efficiently. Relevant information can be matched with the physical locations on the vehicle and is displayed where needed. You can accomplish even complex repair procedures simply and easily. In the near future, augmented reality glasses will be the central user interface in the workshop while having both hands free. Using augmented reality makes the workshop significantly faster, and you avoid mistakes. All information gets imparted visually at the correct location. This sustainable learning effect reduces training costs. Live with the vehicle. And in the virtual world.
So what you saw there is what's actually currently being rolled out. It's not in the prototype, not in the pilot stage anymore. These pilots have been done about a year and a half ago with little training, in little training environments with small groups. But now that Bosch is rolling that out on a global scale for all their training centers. The reason why they can do that I'm going to come to later on when it comes to scalable authoring. But the use case you've seen on the video is that a trainer has a tablet and he triggers the animation and the use cases and the training documentation on the tablet. And then there's trainees around a vehicle, for example, or around a machine, and they just experience what the trainer triggers. up to a point where they get control over the situation and then can interact with a virtual content on their own. So what I want to show with that is also the mix of devices in such an environment. A tablet or a phone together with a HoloLens is something which we do see in the short term quite a lot. The next thing which is very important for enterprises is semantic content. You want to serve users depending on their role. Not all the information is relevant to different people. Some technicians might be more experienced, some technicians might be less experienced. Sometimes you have experts, sometimes you have people who have no clue about a machine. You really want to give them the information which they need based on their knowledge. Also, you want to separate the content from the visualization. So what that means is when you create a use case, you want to make sure that this content lives forever. So whatever HoloLens is coming out next year or in 5 years, you want to make sure that this content can be displayed there without completely programming the application from scratch. So to be independent from hardware. And last but not least, it's not software developers or 3D artists who write the content for a machine, who write machine documentation, technical documentation. They have no clue how a machine is working. So it must be in the hands of a technical writer to create the use cases for augmented reality, the guy who actually has the experience about the hardware. So what they don't tell you is that you actually don't need to commit to their ecosystem, but you really already have everything what you want. And I want to give you a quick step-by-step guide to your augmented reality use cases if you're working in an enterprise. So first, and I know this from experience as a technology company, we talk a lot about technology. Technology doesn't necessarily solve a problem if we don't know what the problem is. So think about the problem. We forget that most often. Think about the environment. Is it outdoor? Is it indoor? Not all the devices can be used outdoor, for instance. Which users do I have? Based on these two information, is augmented reality really the solution? Sometimes certainly not. So we made the mistake as a company in the past. We thought augmented reality is solving all the problems out there. It doesn't. Sometimes it's just a 2D visualization which does the trick and everyone is happy. I am pretty sure, and that's why I'm working in that business, that augmented reality is going to be the human-machine interface in the future, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it for every single use case. Does it justify the investment? Do you have to integrate with legacy systems? Very important for enterprises because they have existing infrastructures and they want to make sure that it integrates seamlessly. What about safety considerations? Do I have hazard environments, for instance, and do I have to have certified devices? And which type of users do I have? Can I expect my users to understand the technology, or do I have to train them on the technology? Ideally, it's as easy as possible so that the user does understand it out of the box, but sometimes with new technologies, it's just not the case. That's again why training, for instance, is such an interesting use case right now, because as a trainer, you have the opportunity to quickly explain how to use the device. If you're going out to the field in the service area, most often you don't have that chance. And then after you've answered all these questions, you only have to ask yourself two things. Do you have the people and the software where you create engineering data for manufacturing today and handbooks, manuals for your products? Do you do documentation today? And typically, technical documentation is done in XML. It's built on the principle that content is being separated from visualization, so that the content lives forever. When you have these things, you're actually ready to get started. And how that looks like, I'll show you on this screen. You have the technical documentation based on XML. You have the CAD information, which you need for A, visualizing step-by-step instructions, and B, creating the tracking configuration so that a machine can be recognized. And then you add this tracking configuration, and when you do need to track a physical object, then the coordinate systems of the two matches, so the tracking system and the visualization, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you have all these three ingredients and publish to any platform. The platform, whether it be a phone, a tablet, glasses, is only a template, and when it's only a template, it becomes intelligent just by the content, if you keep that separated. My little piece of advertisement here is that the product we develop as a company is exactly based on such a system, such a process. We want to make sure that your content lives forever when you start investing in augmented reality. And then when you do all that, you can join us making our vision a reality to maintain and operate complex machinery as easy as using a simple home appliance. And whether or not you're actively investing in augmented reality, mixed reality technologies already, I do recommend to start. Although not every use case is mature, but within the process of prototyping and piloting, you will figure out that there's so many things to consider. Where is the data coming from? Who are my service providers? Is the data actually prepared for the next generation visualization? How about security concerns? All of these questions. And when you don't get started, you figure out in a year or 2 or 3 or 5 years from now that you actually missed that very important step to reduce your costs in your environment. So with that, I want to thank you very much for your attention, and feel free to connect me afterwards. I haven't added a mail address. That was not on purpose, but you find me on LinkedIn. If you have questions to augmented reality, to the experiences we have in the enterprises, to the products we offer, or our partners like Bosch, let me know. Or as mentioned at the beginning, if you're a startup founder, you can also approach me. Very happy to discuss. Thank you.